Have you ever wondered how we, as humans, came to be the way we are today? Let's take a journey back in time, about 3.5 billion years ago, to the earliest known forms of life on our planet, single-celled organisms. Imagine these tiny, microscopic life forms, bustling with activity in the primordial oceans, the cradle of life. These first life forms were called prokaryotes, simple cells without a nucleus. They had the remarkable ability to replicate, to make copies of themselves. This replication, however, was not perfect. Sometimes errors would occur, leading to slight variations among the offspring. These variations, or mutations, are the fundamental engine of evolution. Over time, some of these single-celled organisms began to form colonies, living and working together for mutual benefit. This was the first step towards multicellularity, the state of being composed of many cells, which is a defining characteristic of most life as we know it today. As the eons passed, these simple colonies evolved into more complex forms of life. The cells within these colonies began to specialize, taking on different roles for the good of the whole. Some would become the precursors to our muscles, others to our nerves, and still others to our digestive systems. This process of specialization or differentiation allowed these early life forms to become more efficient, to better adapt to their environment, and ultimately, to survive. It set the stage for the development of more complex organisms, from the first multicellular creatures to the vast array of life forms we see today. This journey from single-celled organisms to the dazzling diversity of life on Earth was not a straightforward path. It was filled with twists and turns, with countless dead ends and miraculous breakthroughs. It was shaped by the relentless forces of mutation and selection, by the ceaseless ebb and flow of life and death. So life started simple, but over billions of years, it would evolve into the vast diversity of creatures we see today, including us, humans. But when did the first human-like creatures appear on Earth, you might be wondering? Well, let's take a leisurely walk back in time, around 4 million years ago, to the era of the Australopithecus, the earliest known human ancestor. These early hominids, or southern apes as the name Australopithecus translates, were a fascinating mix of human and ape-like characteristics. They stood upright and walked on 2 legs, much like we do today. This bipedalism, a significant departure from the quadrupedal movement of their ape relatives, enabled them to cover greater distances and use their hands for tasks other than locomotion, such as gathering food or using tools. Physically, the Australopithecus had a smaller brain size compared to us, about 1/3 the size of the modern human brain. Despite this, they were more similar to us than to apes in many aspects of their body structure and function. Their teeth, for instance, were more human-like, suggesting a diet that included a significant amount of plant-based food. But it wasn't all human-like traits for the Australopithecus. Their long, strong arms and curved fingers were more like those of an ape, hinting at a life partly spent in trees. This combination of terrestrial and arboreal lifestyles afforded them the best of both worlds, enabling them to exploit varied environments for survival. The Australopithecus were not just survivors, but innovators too. They are believed to be among the first tool users, setting the stage for the technological revolution that would follow millions of years later. Their use of simple stone tools marked a significant cognitive leap, underscoring the growing complexity of their brains. So, while they may have looked more like apes than humans, the Australopithecus were far from being just another primate species. Their unique blend of human and ape-like characteristics, their adaptability, and their pioneering use of tools set them apart. They were the first to walk the path that would eventually lead to us. The Australopithecus were a crucial step in human evolution, but they were just the beginning. So, when did we start to see creatures that were more like the modern human? Well, let's take a step back into the past, around 2.5 million years ago. This was a period of profound transformation in our lineage, the time when the Homo genus, our genus, first emerged on the scene. At the forefront of this evolution were Homo habilis and Homo erectus, the early members of our family tree. Now, Homo habilis, aptly named Handyman, was the first of our progenitors to show significant advancements in brain size. Their brains were about 50% larger than those of their predecessors. This increase in brain size was probably a response to the increasing complexity of their environment and the challenges they faced. With a larger brain, they could process more information, make better decisions, and survive in a changing world. But brain size wasn't the only thing that set Homo habilis apart. They were also the first species in our lineage to use tools in a systematic way. They fashioned simple stone tools, using them to butcher meat, crack open bones for marrow, and perform other tasks that would have been difficult with bare hands. These tools represented a major leap forward in technology and marked the beginning of our long relationship with tools and technology. Then, about 1.5 million years ago, Homo erectus came onto the scene. They were even more advanced than Homo habilis, with brains nearly 80% the size of modern humans. Homo erectus was the first of our ancestors to leave Africa and spread across the globe, a testament to their adaptability and survival skills. So, you see, the Homo genus was a game changer in the story of human evolution. They were more like us both in terms of their brain size and their use of tools, but they were still not quite like the modern human we see when we look in the mirror. The Homo genus marked a significant leap forward in human evolution, but we were not yet at the modern human. But when did Homo sapiens, us, first appear on the scene? Our story gets interesting around 300,000 years ago. This is the time when Homo sapiens, the species to which all modern humans belong, first emerged in Africa. The African landscapes were about to witness the advent of a species that would change the course of life on Earth. Homo sapiens were different from their predecessors. Their physical characteristics were more refined. They were taller and slender with reduced jawbones and larger brain cases. This change in physique was not just superficial. It was a reflection of the significant leap in their cognitive abilities. They were smarter, more adaptable, and above all, they were curious. These early humans began to express their curiosity and intelligence in remarkable ways. They started to create. The world saw the first spark of human ingenuity in the form of complex tools. These tools were not only used for hunting and gathering but also for other activities such as sewing clothes and carving wood. The Homo sapiens were the first to invent a technology that was passed down generations, a legacy of knowledge that would only grow with time. But they didn't stop at tools. These early humans also started to create art. They painted on cave walls, carved figurines, and even made jewelry. This was not just about survival anymore. This was about expression, about storytelling, about leaving a mark for the future generations to see. The Homo sapiens had a deep understanding of their surroundings. They observed the patterns in nature, the changing seasons, the behavior of animals. They used this knowledge to their advantage to hunt, to gather, to survive. But more than that, they used this knowledge to question, to explore, to dream. They were the first species to look at a starry sky and wonder what's out there. With the arrival of Homo sapiens, we start to see creatures that are very much like the humans of today. They were more than just survivors. They were thinkers, creators, explorers. They were the first to ask why and how. They were the first to dream of a world beyond their immediate reality. And in doing so, they set the stage for the journey of human evolution that we continue to embark on today. So, how did Homo sapiens come to dominate the planet? Let's delve into this fascinating part of our journey. After the emergence of Homo sapiens in Africa, around 200,000 years ago, the world began to change rapidly. These early humans started to move, venturing out of Africa into the vast unknown. This migration wasn't a one-time event but a series of waves over thousands of years. As they moved, Homo sapiens encountered other human species, like the Neanderthals in Europe and the Denisovans in Asia. There's evidence of interbreeding between our ancestors and these other human species, but ultimately, Homo sapiens were the ones who survived. The reasons for their survival are still a hot topic of debate among scientists. Some suggest it was due to our ancestors' superior cognitive abilities, allowing them to adapt and innovate better. Others propose it may have been due to competition for resources, or even outright conflict. Whatever the reasons, Homo sapiens ended up as the last human species standing. But the story doesn't end there. As Homo sapiens spread across the globe, they began to settle down, developing agriculture around 10,000 years ago. This was a turning point in our evolution. No longer did we need to constantly move in search of food. We could stay in one place, cultivate crops, and raise animals. This shift from hunting and gathering to farming paved the way for the rise of civilizations. Now, with a stable food supply, populations began to grow, and communities became more complex. We started to build cities, create governments, and invent writing. The world was being shaped by the hands of Homo sapiens, leading to the world we know today. From humble origins, Homo sapiens have risen to become the dominant species on the planet. Their journey, our journey, is a testament to the power of adaptation and the relentless drive to survive and thrive. and it's a journey that continues to this day as we keep evolving and shaping our world.